Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. And if you remember, in the previous video we created a report like the following that we have on the screen, wherein we have a slicer, and if user selects any month, any calendar year on the slicer, based on that selection we want January and February of the previous year and the current month of the current year that we have selected on the slicer. So if I select 2008, I get January and February of 2007 and the March of 2008, and so on for other months as well. But there are few things that we still need to work upon. So for example, if I drill down in this visual by using this option, you can see that um, even though I have selected 2009 in the slicer, I still get the data for 2007. So how can we remove that from the visual? So let's go to the code that we have written in our previous video. And all we need to do is just in the previous year variable, we need to introduce remove filters dates. So what remove filter will do is it will remove all the filters that are coming from that visual, and in that empty filter context we are going to calculate the max year that is prior to the current selection in the slicer. And if I confirm the measure and go back to my report, and if I just drill up once again and then drill down, you can see that now we only see 2008 January and February, and then we have 2009 March. So that's one thing that we have fixed. Now let's try to see the code that is being generated behind this visual, and let's try to see if we can optimize it further. So let's go to the view tab, and from that we need to select performance analyzer and then start recording, and I'm going to refresh the visual. Let's click on metrics and copy the query, and then we need to go to DAX Studio and then copy and paste our code. And I'm going to remove every other stuff that is not required for the optimization, and let's remove that. And then I need to call my last variable on the screen, which is ds0 core, which is basically a summarize column which generates the data that Power BI Visual uses. And let's turn on our server timing trace. So let me zoom in a little bit and let's hit F5 to run the query. And you can see that on the screen we have 14 queries that have been executed against storage engine. And let's try to read these queries. The first one is select dates calendar year number from the dates table, and then we are getting the max disconnected dates calendar year number, and then we have another max dates calendar year number wherein the dates calendar year number is in 2005, 2006, 2007 and 2008. And then we have a lot of more queries. So I will get to the main issue of that, of why we see so many storage engine query for such a small code. So the reason is that we have written values. So in our code inside calculate table we have written values, dates, calendar year, month, number. So what values does is it respects the cross filtering that is coming from other columns that we have in the visual, or you can say the cross filters coming from the other columns of the model. So what we want to do is remove that cross filtering because that is not required for our purpose. So what we can do is just introduce remove filters once again in our other measures as well, other variables. And if I write remove filters again and click on enter, you can see that the result has not changed at all. We still get the same values, and if I expand this and drill down a little bit, the same values are again are the same that we are getting. And if I go back to DAX Studio and hit run, you can see that now we are only left with 8 storage engine queries. And let's try to identify the difference between the time that was used in the previous execution versus the current one. So let's see how much time is being taken to generate the code or generate the result for the visual that Power BI is going to use. And we can see that the code runs in 27 milliseconds. So let's go back to Power BI and try to remove the remove filters from our variables, and let's remove it from the other one as well. And if I hit F5, you can see that it is now running in 44 milliseconds. So we are saving somewhere around for 20 milliseconds in this code by just introducing remove filters in all of our variables. So before wrapping up, let me just show you how I was able to identify that there is an external dependency on the variables that we have created, and because of which there were a lot of storage engine queries. And for that, what I have done is I have extracted the trace details of both the version with and without remove filters. And what I did was I went to the website Google. I went to google.com and I simply typed online Json Compare, and you can go to the first link that you see. So I have uploaded the export of the trace detail from DAX Studio on this website, and on the left hand side we have the version of export where we did not have the remove filters, and on the right hand side we have the version which contains remove filters. So if I scroll down a little bit to see the difference between the two queries that have been generated, you can see that in the first variable, let me just zoom in a little bit. So you can see on this line we have var name is equal to previous year Jan and Feb, and against which it says depend on calls date state. So this is what I was talking about, that that values is actually respecting the cross filtering that is coming from different columns of that model. And after introducing remove filter, you can see that the depend on calls is actually empty. So we have removed any cross filter that was coming from different columns of that visual. And similarly, the same difference is available in the other variable as well, which is this year current month. It says depend on calls date state, and then we have introduced remove filters. So we have removed the dependency that was being created by values. So that's how we were able to optimize that code and reduce the number of storage engine queries. Alright, that was it for this video, and I hope you have learned something new in this video, and I will see you in the next one. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section and I will try my level best to answer your queries. So have a great day, and I will see you next time.